place. All candidates, if you'll please go ahead and take your place, please. All right. I would like you guys to meet our panel. And I'll let you guys can go ahead and just introduce yourselves to everybody.
Okay, do you want us to use this? Okay.
You're just talking.
Alright, you go first.
Yeah, guys, I'm Kyle Hall from Blood Park. Looking forward to asking you all questions tonight.
And I'm Brandy Guthrie, and I'm from River Chase. And these aren't our questions. They're everyone's questions. So let's get that straight.
Julian Tibbs from Blood Park. You're going to keep your time tonight, so
I'm Michael Allen from River Chase. I'm shadowing the timer and I'm also assisting.
Red flag.
I'm Nico and River Chase and I'm in the flag.
So watch them for your time, okay? Just remember what I told you. If you get close to going over, if you get a red flag, it's fine. Okay. Keep it.
I do it just like I do at church. If I'm off, I don't trust it. I mean, it's got to be all my stuff in the front row. Somebody throw me out. Which go on. Where do you think you have it silenced? He used to calm down a lot. He used to call people out. See that, buddy? Is that well, you know, he used to call people out. So the funniest, there was somebody was in our Sunday school class, and she was sitting up on the front row of the balcony. Anyway, and she started mumbling with it, and it flew out of her hand. Were you there when Buddy's was the one that was going off and he was mad and he was waiting for people to turn it off? And finally, it was his. I'll just wait.
Hey guys, if y'all had signs hanging up against the building, we have moved them around inside because they cannot be out for control.
Isn't that
They
great?
can be between the trees and the road. But the ones you brought to hand out, we have to place them there in the building. But they're
Oh, I All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here this evening. We are at 6 o'clock right now. If anybody else does come in, we will have some of the Hoover Bells escort them in, help them find a seat. But we are going to go ahead and get started this evening. First, we are going to hear from Ryan Kirkland, who's Associate Pastor here at Shades Crest Baptist Church, and he's going to give us invocation.
All right. Thank you all for being here tonight. I'll keep it brief. Just wanted to say welcome. We're glad to have you here. Let's pray together. We thank you, Father, for the opportunity to be here tonight. We thank you for this wonderful city that we call home, and for the privilege to participate in the life of our city through events like tonight. We ask that it would be a beneficial, informative, and helpful discussion and dialogue. We pray that you would provide safety and help for every single person on the stage tonight. And we ask all that in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I have this one. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Heather Skaggs, and I'm the chairman of the Hoover Candidates Forum. This forum was established in 2016 with leaders from Bluff Park and the Monte d'Oro neighborhood. The forum's purpose was to connect Hoover voters with the candidates. Many of the older and historic neighborhoods felt that they were being overlooked and forgotten. The purpose of this forum was to give a louder voice so that people in those neighborhoods would be heard. Over the last 3 election cycles, we have grown to include more volunteers from many communities across Hoover. The planning committee and forum volunteers are from several Hoover neighborhoods, including Monte d'Oro, Bluff Park, River Chase, Green Valley, Ross Bridge. This year, we also wanted to include young people in our volunteers. Because they are future voters as well. We have 2 college students with us who are volunteering. We also have members of the Hoover Bells who have been working with us and will be assisting us this evening. How the questions were collected for this forum. All questions have come from a Google form that circulated on social media and via email several weeks before the forum. Residents could ask as many questions as they like in a number of different topic categories. Questions could only be directed to all candidates, not individual candidates. We had over 80 questions submitted. That was a lot for us to go through. Not all questions, as you can imagine, will be used tonight because of time constraints. The 3 topics that generated the most questions were transparency, campaign finance, city finance, and schools and infrastructure. Tonight, while you listen to the candidates, you may have a follow-up question. You may address questions to all the candidates or a specific place number. Questions to individual candidates is not a part of this format. Please write your questions on the provided note cards on the tables. If you need more note cards, please just give us a wave. One of our many volunteers around will bring you more. Once you have completed your questions, please hold it up, and a volunteer will come collect it from you and will bring it back to our sorting table. Okay. Ready? All right, at this time, I'd like to introduce you to our hosts for this evening, Miss Darla Williamson and Todd True.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Darla Williamson.
And I'm Todd True. It's my pleasure this year. I'm president of the Monte d'Oro Neighborhood Association and all about historic neighborhoods. Monte d'Oro began in 1964, prior to the city of Hoover, so it's just a sweet spot for us. I'd like to welcome the Hoover candidates to the 25 forum. Tonight you will hear from candidates running for re-election or election in council places 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Place 6 was held by Dr. Casey Middlebrooks, and place 7 was held by Steve McClinton. Those were unopposed. The councilmen were certified for their next term last month and sworn in. Both councilmen were invited to share a few words with you tonight. Councilman McClinton is here with us and would like to share a few words. Unfortunately, Dr. Middlebrooks was unable to attend. So, Mr. McClinton.
Thank you. This will only take 45 minutes. Hey, I'm honored to serve Hoover. I appreciate your trust. I plan to serve with dedication. As for my colleagues and other candidates, I applaud you for wanting to serve. You're doing it for the love of the city. You're obviously not doing it for the $7,000 a year paycheck. What all of us have in common is one common theme. We want a transparent and honest government. Sadly, that's just not true in the current administration. City Hall is very fractured right now. I think City Hall has been attacking its citizens, attacking businesses, and even elected officials. So, last year we had a forensic audit, and it revealed our worst fears, that the council, the current council, has been making decisions based on the wrong information. And City Hall controls all that information. So, what I ask my colleagues here and future candidates, with a strong, united council that puts integrity, transparency, and honesty in government back where it serves the people, we can get Hoover back on track and serve with dignity. So thank you for your time, and Godspeed.
Thank you so much. For this, for this evening, we have volunteer readers to take us through the questions that you, the Hoover residents, have submitted. They will read the questions to all candidates, and then each candidate will answer before moving to the next topic. Our readers for the evening are Brandy Guthrie and Kyle. She's from River Chase, and Kyle Hall from here in Bluff Park.
Candidates will have 1 minute to answer each question. Our timekeepers tonight are Luann Tibbs from Bluff Park and Lee Guthrie from River Chase. Don't forget that you have note cards on the tables to submit any follow-up questions to the candidates, which can be used after the break. Write down your follow-up questions and signal one of the Hoover bells to pick them up.
Okay, let's get started. Everybody ready? All right, our first topic is experience. Brandy.
Good evening. This is a question from Robin Riddles from Bluff Park. Many of the challenges our communities face require not only policy knowledge, but also the ability to listen, reflect, and collaborate, even when there are disagreements. Share a time when you changed your mind or realized your perspective on an issue wasn't quite right, and how did you handle that moment? And what did you take away from that experience?
Thank you. I'm Robin Schultz, Place 1. There are several times that has happened, and with my experience with attending council meetings, I have gone in with a perceived notion of something, and then after listening to the council and speaking to council members afterwards and speaking to the community afterwards, I found that I needed to change the perspective of that. I needed to change my mind on that and publicly acknowledge that. You have to publicly acknowledge if you are incorrect. But the question initially is listening, and listening is probably one skill that sometimes we don't see in government, and that is something that we want to bring back to government.
Hello, my name is Chanveer Patel, and I'm an executive, a business woman, and I can speak to my experience related to that. First of all, as a leader, it's very important to listen, understand, and lead. And leading smart people is not easy. As you can imagine, on the council, there are very smart people. And the citizens are super smart because they ask great questions. So related to what I wanted to say is that there was a time in my company when I was thinking about this is the technology that we use, because I run a technology company. And we said, okay, this is the technology that we're going to use. This is good for our customers, and this is what we're going to do. But when my team came back to me and said, here are the reasons why we shouldn't use this, and here are the pros and cons for these. And I had made up my mind that this is where it's going to go. But when I listened and understood, I changed, and I said, that's great for the customer.
All right, so God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So I'm not going to repeat the listening side, but that is incredibly important. How can we represent people if we do not represent you by listening? That is the first thing in this role as an elected official, as a public servant. I also have a wife, 4 children who are incredibly intelligent people. They respect me as the head of our home, but they certainly have their own opinions and the liberty to express that. So I practice this daily in my home as best I can. Fortunately, my wife and children are not here to roll their eyes at me, but nonetheless, I do try to do it to the glory of God. But also, I have served as a leader in our organizations through different companies where I've had to lead teams as big as 120 folks. And there's a lot of highly intelligent people that want to solve problems, and a lot of creative minds that have gone through great schools or had great experiences. And I learned over time, while I may have a great idea, all great ideas can come from everywhere, from the most experienced to even an intern.
Good evening. My name is Kenneth Cox. I'm running for Hoover City Council, Place 2. I have, throughout my professional career, I've had the pleasure of serving as the head track and field coach at Birmingham Southern, but also I've served as the president for track and field for the United States for all colleges throughout our division. We all come from different backgrounds, different size schools, and I've been entrusted by those that elected me as president of track and field to not just have my perspective of what track and field and particularly education looks like within Birmingham, but also to what that perspective looks like across the world. And so it requires me to listen. It requires me to understand and appreciate different perspectives. And then bring that back to the board, bring that back to my constituents, and make sound and intelligent decisions that impact those institutions.
Hello, everybody. My name is Copeland Johnson, and I'm campaigning for Hoover City Council Place 2 currently. And just from the question was, what is an experience that you had that you realized you were wrong on, and how did you go forward with that? So with me, I have a unique perspective in terms of being from a younger generation, a generation that's often underrepresented. And so being a product of Spain Park and my moral value system and parents and teachers and pastors and coaches, really my whole upbringing has been maybe being told I'm wrong and how to fix it. So we're not talking about a point of view where all of my community hasn't contributed to it anyway, and that's part of the reason why I'm standing up here right now. Thank you.
I'm Gene. Does this work? Is this on? Okay. I'm Gene Smith, Place 2. I'm going to go back to the first term that I was on the council. We had 2 school board appointments to make, and I had a senior council member come to me and say, we've got 6 votes. You're the lone vote against. And we need to be unified. We need to look unified going forward. In the years that I have served on the city council, those are the only 2 votes that I would have ever wished that I could have taken back. Since then, I have never gone and not spoken my opinion and never voted my convictions. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Liz Lane, and I'm running in seat 3. I am a mom, a small business owner, and an artist. And I opened that small business, that brick and mortar, when I was 27 years old in downtown Homewood. And I'm really lucky to have been in that business for almost the past 10 years. It's what I pay my bills with. It's how I've raised my family, and I'm very proud of it. But in having a business, especially through the COVID years, what we needed changed. And I made a lot of mistakes, but then I always came back from them. I think it's really important when you are in a position of leadership, whether it's your business or whether it's in your community, to bring collaborative leadership and creative problem solving front to the table, and also to remember to have humbleness and humility in your decisions, to know what's possible and what's not possible. Thank you. Hey everyone, I'm Ashley Lovell and I'm running for place 3. I actually have a recent example. In October of last year, I dealt with a development issue in my neighborhood, and I don't live in one of the new neighborhoods in the community. And I changed my perspective in the fact that when the development issue started, we had a lot of upset neighbors. And instead of getting upset with the neighbors, you take a step back, and as a leader, you have to kind of recenter yourself and think about what is going to be your plan of attack and how are you going to listen to the residents in the community. And so that's what I did. I organized the petition. It got almost 3,000 signatures and over 500 survey responses, and it was exciting because it was helping the community. So my perspective changed, in fact, that it's not about sitting back and watching. It's getting involved, getting engaged, and communicating with your neighbors. Thank you.
I'm Robert Williams, campaigning for place 3. I defended doctors for almost 40 years, and I went into every case believing that my doctor had not done anything wrong. But I learned that by reviewing all of the documents, listening to all of the witnesses, that sometimes that was not true. And I had to change my perspective. And it's not an easy thing to tell your doctor that I've looked at all this and we're not going to win. But you have to listen. You have to be able to pivot to the nature of what's going on. And I think that's what we're going to have to do with the city council. We're going to have to listen. We're going to have to listen to each other and be willing to change our minds and do what's best for the city. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Christy Driver. I'm currently sitting, I'll get that right in a minute, sitting in place 4 on the Hoover City Council. I've been serving there for 2 years. I was appointed into a vacancy when Mike Shaw was elected to the state legislature. And an experience that comes to mind for me that fits this question is my opinion on school funding. So for the 2 years that I've served on the council, I've operated under the belief that the schools did not need more funding from the city because they could go and ask for property taxes, or because they could get their funding through property tax increases in other manners. But what I have learned from seeking information from our experts who serve on the Board of Education and former Board of Education members is that there's an actual need there. And so what I would like to do in my next term as City Council is to invite them to make a business case for that money and allow us the opportunity to vote on it.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christian Coleman, running for place 4. Mike Shaw beat me for that legislature seat, and it kind of hurts my feelings how much Christy brings it up. So I was deployed to the Middle East 2 years ago, and when you're deployed, you don't get to pick who you deploy with, who you end up in the desert with. So I was there with people from Maine, from California, from New York City, places I had never been, and they had perspectives that I had never heard. This is a big country, and a lot of the times it can feel like a foreign country if they're from, Oregon or some such. But there is no way one single person can lift an 8,000-pound pallet. You have to work together. So if somebody brings a perspective to you and says, this will help us get the mission done, you have to humble yourself and say, okay, that person is right. That person can help us get the mission accomplished.
I'm Donna Mazer. I'm running for place 4. I was on the council over 20 years ago. I believe that the council that I was on was the most transparent in the city. I want to bring that back to the city today. I want to be able to have the council listen to our residents, answer our residents, and be accountable for everything that goes on in that city. No deals made behind closed doors.
Derek Murphy, Place 5, running for re-election. I have multiple experience, both on the city council and also the school board. Now, in our city, our goal is to have revenue generation in order to have businesses here as well. But my first experience here is this right here. Every community is not built the same. Monty and Durham had a concern with Marlboro Road. A lot of traffic coming in and out all of the time. Having certain businesses like retail there will cause multiple issues. Having certain businesses that cause accidents and theft, they're not tucked away like other businesses away from major drags. So that makes me change my perspective based upon retail that may come into your area, businesses that may come into your area. Is it good for that particular neighborhood? Is it good for that particular community in the 6th largest city in the state of Alabama?
Hi, my name's Steve Lawrence. I'm running for Place 5 on the Hoover City Council. I want to thank every single person that's here today, because being present here at this forum shows me you care. I'm a lifelong Hoover resident. My mom's here tonight. We moved here in 1974. My father and my mother-in-law are down there, as well as my wife of 25 years, who I love very much, and my twin kids are going back to college, and my son's longtime girlfriend as well. I just want to say that listening is so important. To know something about me, I'm one of those guys that is always learning. I probably have read about 10 fiction books in my lifetime. So in order to learn, you have to ask people questions and you want to listen. That's always been my strength. I too, looking at the school funding, went and met with the superintendent, 3 board members, talked to the parent-teacher organization, some members there and some teachers to understand the school funding issue. And at the same time, I wanted to find out, how is Vestavia doing so well against us? So I met with the city councilman there. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, this next question comes in from an educator. Place 2? All right, we'll start there. So place 2, you start. The question comes in from an educator from the Pinewood area. It's a 2-part question, so if you need me to repeat any of it, please let me know. At the annual Hoover City School Teacher Institute yesterday, we were told 5,000 more homes are slated to be built here in Hoover. With class sizes already high and many floating teachers, how do you plan to address the need for more classrooms, more teachers, and lower class sizes? Having said that, it certainly does affect our high schools. So in a specific area, the question is, do you favor the redistribution of students from one high school to the other? Do you favor the expansion of Hoover High School, since that's where the primary growth is? Or do you support a 3rd high school?
Well, the first one was the soft pitch. Thanks that's a really good question, and 2-part to it as well. So I have 4 kids. I really moved to Hoover because of our schools. One of my sons is a special needs student. He has an IEP plan, and I know how hard our teachers are working, and there's not enough of them. The ratio is tight, the resources are low, and the only way they can get help is from the government, be it local, state, or federal. The federal only sends so much through the state, so it comes to the local government. We've continued to decrease funding, and I misunderstand why. I know we're strapped for cash, and that's part of why I'm running. Our school boards need, I see some of our school boards and prior school board members here in the building today. They've expressed concerns year after year that the schools are getting more packed and the funding is getting tighter. As far as a third high school, I know we have the federal case, and I know we are continuing to grow. I think we've had several studies on that, and have looked at different options about how to control that growth, our home building and our students, and diversification. Redistributing a high school may not be an option to send kids from one school to another. Building another high school is going to take years, and the crowding is going to happen within the next few years. So I support whatever our school board proposes, and I hope we can get them more funding, because they're the experts here, not us.
Time.
Would you repeat the question again?
Yes, sir. At the annual high school Hoover City Schools Teacher Institute yesterday, we were told 5,000 more homes are slated to be built here in Hoover. With class sizes already high and many floating teachers, how do you plan to address the need for more classrooms, more teachers, and lower class sizes? As it relates primarily to the two high schools, do you favor the redistribution of students from one to the other, the expansion of Hoover High School, since that's where most of the growth is, or support a third high school?
Well, thank you for repeating the question. So, as a city councilman, I would certainly not want to make that decision on my own. We have incredible principals, we have incredible members of the school board that have way more experience than we would in terms from a daily perspective of making decisions, but also forecasting what those school sizes would look like. Our oldest daughter, actually was a part of the rezoning of Deer Valley to Bros Gap, and that was as a parent, that was a process that I would certainly not be in favor of, just because of what was lost in that transition, and so very sensitive to that. And I believe that that what we need to do is we need to continue to work together with our leaders in the school board to make sound decisions, not just for ourselves, but for the growth of Hoover.
Hello, again, I'm Copeland Johnson. So what we're talking about is an increase of population. So what part of the Hoover's issue has been long-term planning. We know that that's been something that they've been struggling with. So one of the things that I like to see for the education system is looking at facilities planning across a 10-year term. So obviously, I know that we're only up here for, or the Hoover City Council's term is 4 years, but in terms of facilities planning, my generation is a generation that's going to be most of the school population anyway. So when I look at an increase of students, that's already incorporating what I believe to be coming from my generation. And so as a Spain Park product, I'm really familiar with the school system. I understand what goes into an increase of population. So what it's just going to take, I think, is to expand the schools. And I understand that fiscal responsibility is important, but it's just about what we prioritize and how we allocate the funds. Thank you.
I'll turn it around first. If the issue is more immediate, obviously you're going to have to look at adjusting high school lines. It takes a while to design and build a third high school if that's the direction the school system and the school board wants to go. That's not a council decision. The council could help find funding to build that high school, but then once you get it built, the ongoing expense is the operational cost, and that goes on forever. As far as funding, there are additional ways that the city can find additional funding. We do need to look at the budgets tighter and closer and see what truly is available. Thank you.
So my two girls actually went to preschool right here, and the last time I was in this room was probably for a Thanksgiving program. I strongly support listening to the school board first for this decision, and then a parent-centered approach, because the needs of our parents and teachers and students come first in this community. Hoover is built on its schools. They are the backbone of our community, and we need to work to maintain schools that are welcoming, safe, and inclusive. Overcrowding is not a good thing. I've been in schools that were overcrowded, and we need to make sure that they're welcoming to families of all types. So I think listening to families first and doing a lot of research before we make this crucial, important decision is needed. Thank you. Ashley Lovell, place 3. So I would like to offer a different perspective in the question. I'm all about coming up with solutions that you can implement quickly and solutions that can utilize the already existing processes in place. So I believe that RC3 is a wonderful opportunity to take some of those schools that or students that might want to go into a different direction and grow all of the different categories of learning opportunities in RC3. I also believe that it all comes down to smart development. We need to make sure that the houses that are being added appropriately, the number, can the infrastructure handle it? So RC3 as well as smart development is really what it comes down to for me.
Robert Williams, place 3. I wish there was a quick and easy answer to that question. But as most everybody has already said, this is a long-term problem. I can tell you as a realtor that we know how long it takes to build a house where they're building them, and they can put them up in a year. We cannot get a new high school in a year. So what we're going to have to do is, and I don't want this to sound like a cop-out, but we're going to have to go to the experts. The school board, the people who know the system, they're going to have to tell the council what they need, and we're going to have to just suck it up and do what they need, bring them the money, get them what they have to have, because education is most important, and that's why people are coming to Hoover. That's why we're building more homes, because people want to live in Hoover. But we've got to keep the school systems up. Thank you.
So aside from public safety, there is nothing more important in our community than our schools. As others have said, I would rely on our experts in determining what the right path forward is. I will say that, as a blue-collar girl, I'm the daughter of an electrician and the granddaughter of an iron worker. I am a huge fan of the skilled trades and all of the other awesome things that RC3 has to offer our students. And I do understand that has drawn a substantial number of children away from the traditional high school setting, which is a great potential solution to this problem. Not necessarily the end-all be-all, but a step in the right direction. So looking for ways to expand on the programs that we're offering there, offering more, I think would be a great step in the right direction.
Christian Coleman, place 4. I also would rely on the experts, and I happen to live with one of those experts. My wife is a high school teacher, and she was a floating teacher for a year, and she made it very clear to me that the quality of her teaching suffered by not having her own classroom. And so I live by a belief that I don't want to hear what you believe. Show me your budget, and I'll tell you what you believe. Okay. And so I think that lately we have been sending less money to Hoover City Schools from the city government. And so I happen to believe in those schools. I happen to believe in those teachers, those administrators, and those students. So I would increase funding, and then I would work with the school board, I would work with the administrators, I would work with teachers, and do everything possible from a city council perspective to provide them the tools they need to provide the best education possible.
Hi, I'm Donna Mazer. Schools are very important to me. I was on the steering committee when we decided to build Hoover Schools. Now, again, we developed Ross Bridge. We had a place for a third high school there. And some of you may not want to hear this, but we were told that it would be terrible because of our football teams. And therefore, they turned down a third high school, which was all prepped and ready to go in Ross Bridge. When I was on the council, we gave 7% of sales tax revenue to the high school. We were the last ones to do 7%. It was then cut down. Thank you.
Derek Murphy, Place 5. I've served as the president of the school board and also have served 5 years on the school board. It's some fundamental processes you have to take. Zoning does take place, but you have to get many times approved by the federal government through unitary status, so that takes some time. As far as funding, school system, when I was on the board, only received $2 million and had to pay back $1 million for the student resource officers. When I got in the office, we increased that by 5 and also pay for all SROs. What we have to do as a school, as a city council, get with our school system, see their needs. We have to increase our revenues. If we start talking about cutting services, okay, we're talking about cutting police, we're talking about cutting fire, and all the other needs of the community. That is impossible to happen. But bottom line of it, if we increase our revenues, we can give more funds to the schools because they deal with other issues, such as increasing IEPs for students each and every day.
So I think the Hoover School Board has done a fantastic job. Since 2007, no new debt. They paid it down by 27%. Enrollment's been flat the past couple of years. Bluff Park Elementary School is overcrowded. It's a serious problem going on here, and they need more space. So the student-teacher ratio is so crucial. We need to fund our schools with more money. The last 9 years, nothing. Yes, they raised it from $2.5 million to $5 million. The SROs were 100% paid for by the city before my opponent even was elected into office. Rezoning on the high school, Spain Park is a 6A high school. They have room, and we can rezone there before we build another high school. But rather than building a new high school, RC3 needs to be expanded. In the age of AI, what's end up happening is we need more skilled trades. There's companies out there that need plumbers, mechanical folks, electricians. We can expand the trades, and that will help with some of the overcrowding in the schools. Thank you.
Mr. Hall. Hello. Mr. Hall, your question was that the Institute happened yesterday. I attended my first board meeting in 2007 and have missed very few meetings since then. That question isn't new. That question has been asked since 2007. We have had expansion in the city, and we've gone through rezoning twice. The last time we went through rezoning was in 2017. Expansion of Hoover High School, we've already expanded it once. We had a G Hall back in 2014. G Hall cost $36 million, which was the original cost of Hoover High School was $34 million. G Hall costs more than the actual high school did when we expanded it. Build a third high school? 2 questions. Where are you going to put it? How are you going to pay for it? Those are the questions that have been asked for the last 17 years, and we need to find answers to them, and we need to find them soon. Thank you.
Tanvir Patel, Place 1. So this is a perfect example of the first question, listening. Listening is so important. We have to listen to the school board, we have to listen to the parents, and we have to, that's our job as the city council. And as a city councilwoman, I would really like to listen and understand. The data shows, I mean, we are 93,000. The schools are getting strained, right? And so the thing that we need to think about is, again, like how are we going to pay for it? That's important. That's the job of city council. We have to create a model thinking long term, because it is growing. So we have to think long term, where are we going to get that money from, and how are we going to fund that, and how are we going to do this? So optimization is very important. And I'm not a historian, by the way, but I'd love to solve that problem.
Very good. So place 3, we'll start with you on this question. Campaign finance is one of the top 3 topics that brought the most questions. We have combined several questions from residents into one question. Campaign contributions must be reported and filed monthly, then weekly starting July 26. Who is your largest campaign contributor, and what have they done for Hoover? Second, why do they want you in the seat?
I love this question so much. So I have to tell you guys, my largest campaign support has been very grassroots, and it started with my book club. And we are a group of moms in Hoover, in Rossbridge, and we all support each other, and they have donated here and there, and they have my rock and stone. What do you say? Like, they're right there. We love these girls. Anyways, we're a group of moms, and they are the ones that want me on the city council. It's the moms, it's the parents that want me in this position. So thank you. Hey there, Ashley Lovell, place 3. So 3 key priorities that are very important to me are transparency and accountability, smart development, and schools and safety. And I would like to hone in on the idea of smart development. When it comes to the campaign finances, I believe that that we need to listen to the residents, we need to partner with developers, and have relationships that are going to better the city of Hoover. So when it comes to some of my largest donors, yes, they are coming from developers, but also from family members and also from residents in the city of Hoover. It takes money to run a campaign. That's the truth. And when it comes to what I believe that those who donate to my campaign are on the mission. They're on the mission to make Hoover better. Thank you.
Robert Williams, place 3. My top contributor is me. And I have contributed because I want to serve Hoover. My second largest contributors are neighbors, and the top contribution is $500. And what I understand is that as my neighbors and my friend, they trust me to do what's best for the city of Hoover. They know me, they've been around me, they've seen what I've done for our community, and I think that's why they have donated. I believe every donation that I have received is from a neighbor, and I'm thankful to them, and I'm not going to let them down.
Well, like Robert, I am also the single largest contributor to my campaign, but I will speak about the Greater Birmingham Association of Home Builders, who endorsed me and gave me a significant donation. I'm proud of that because they told me that the reason that they endorsed me was because I was honest with them. There have been some opportunities that I've had in my role on Planning and Zoning Commission to tell developers when they have a bad development coming and when it's not going to work for the community. Some examples of that include the Preserve, Tattersall, and the warehouse project over in Inverness. So the developers respect me. We have a great relationship. I am pro-business and pro-development when it makes sense, but I'm also going to be honest with them, and they appreciate that about me.
Christian Coleman, place 4. My largest contributor is my mom, because mommy loves me. And I think she wants me in this spot because she knows that she raised somebody who is intelligent, who is passionate, who is compassionate, and who will do everything he can to help the people around him. And as far as what has she done, excuse me, I grew up in Vestavia, so what has she done for the city of Hoover is she drove me out to Hoover East for all those baseball tournaments when I was young, contributing to the city of Hoover through, concessions and such. And also, She allowed me to send those Hoover boys home early for the summer.
I'm Donna Mazer. I'm my own contributor. I have not taken a penny from anyone. I was offered. I don't want to owe anyone. I will do whatever I have to do, like I did the first time around. I have spoken to people. They are supporting me. That's all I'm interested in, and I'm paying for my own campaign, and very proud to do that. Thank you.
Derek Murphy, Place 5. My support has come from a variation of my time in City of Hoover, from Little League coaches to my family to Greater Home Builder Association to also our realtors. One thing you'll get from me, regardless if you donate or not, is good government. Somebody's going to listen, a process driven. We get so much from our realtors. When an individual comes to the City of Hoover or think about coming to our city, they call realtors first. They tell them what is the greatest schools, what is the greatest city. They are our voice. But I can't be bought, I can't be sold. You get good government, that's about all you're going to get from me.
So I've got a little catch here because my largest contributor was myself, and but I made an agreement with my wife when I got in this race late that we would not spend our own money. So I've already paid that back. The rest of my campaign contributions have come from, I have one PAC contribution and probably about $6,000 or $7,000 that have come from individuals, mostly Hoover residents. Probably my largest non-individual contribution, my largest individual contribution came from one of my long-term clients that I've had for 20-something years that has a business in Vestavia. So, and nobody's going to buy me. I'm going to do what's best for the City of Hoover. If you know me, you know what I stand for. And so a financial contribution is paying for campaign signs and flyers, but it has nothing to do with how I'm going to serve the City of Hoover. I love this city, and I want to do what's best for our residents. Thank you.
Okay, this is Tanveer Patel. I'm not a politician. I'm a business person who spent years helping others grow their business. And when I decided to run, my donations came from grassroots neighbors of Hoover, residents of Hoover, family, small businesses, and out-of-town relatives. I shared with them what is my story, what I have built, and what I care about. And people responded because I have truly been humbled by how many folks have reached out to me because they said they want to see me in office, because they see that I can help and solve problems. And like everything else I have done, I have been very transparent and responsible. I have not taken any money from PAC, nor have I taken any money from developer, nor I have taken any money from realtor. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I started the Hoover Channel in 2022 because there was a lack of transparency in the council. So what does that have to do with the question? The question is that drew some attention from people that liked what we were doing. They felt that there was a lack of transparency and they wanted to see me on the city council, and they've contributed to it. And there was a second part to it that of the people that have donated, they have committed to making this city better. So we have various contributions from various donors, but all of them have one thing in common. They want to see this city go back to what it was before.
Go second, right? Your place too. Sorry, Heather said we rotate within the place too. I apologize. All right. So let me just start then. I have taken no money. I have asked for no money, and I've turned down a lot of money, just to be clear. Moreover, I've committed to send the $28,800 over the next 4 years back to great causes like David Bannister's, with our schools, with our YMCA. That's where our money should go as council members. This is my gift to the city. God has gifted me with incredible relationships, incredible insights, and just a desire to serve, okay? And this is my gift to the city. No one has funded my campaign, and I don't want anyone to. I funded this on a slogan, my 2 cents for common sense government. So I guess I raised 2 cents for my best friend. And I hope that you'll listen to what we have to say. I hope you'll believe in me. And instead of money, consider voting for me. Consider telling 5 or 10 people, getting in your neighborhoods, and realizing that I am not bought. I cannot be influenced. The only influence I have is everyone that's here and everyone in our city. I'm unbiased, and I think the firmest form of transparency is to not be blinded by financials. So I took none, and I hope you'll give me that opportunity to serve all of you.
Time.
Thank you. So the biggest contributors of my campaign has been myself and my wife. 17 years ago, we made the decision to move to Hoover. I told you guys before I was the track coach at Birmingham Southern, but what I didn't tell you is that we lived in Atlanta for 6 years prior to that, so I stepped out on faith, came here to Hoover, coached at Birmingham Southern, and without my wife and our 1-year-old at the time, she's now 17. In that time, our relationship grew. We also understood that this was a place that we wanted to call home and not move back to North Carolina. And so I invested in myself and my wife. What she said is 3 things that she wanted when we moved to Hoover. She wanted sidewalks, great schools, and shopping. And I've made great on that promise. And so investing in myself, just like I'm investing to this campaign. Thank you.
Copeland Johnson, place 2. So I'm just going to get into the 4 years that are most important to my campaign. And it's the 4 years that I spent learning policy and legislative process. My biggest supporter was somebody who donated heavily across 4 to 5 years to the Spain Park Law Academy program because he believes in what Hoover City Schools is doing with the children as far as career preparedness. So with that, between supporting the Law Academy and supporting my current campaign now, the people that have been believing me and supporting my campaign, I have too been running a grassroots campaign, but the people that have been supporting me really like the idea of fresh perspectives, modern energy, and current solvents to current issues. Thank you.
I, by far, am the largest contributor to my campaign. It's not cheap to run campaigns. I do not like asking people for money. Historically, I have paid for my own campaigns. To me, it's an investment in the community if I'm able to get back on the council. I think even David Bannister, and I'm going to step out on a limb, and I don't know if this is egotistical or not, but David Bannister has called my wife and I one of the most philanthropic families in the city of Hoover. And we enjoy giving back to the community. And to me, this is one of the ways. Now, have I accepted money? Yes, I have accepted money. I had an unsolicited endorsement from the Home Builders Association. And with that came a check. Probably very similar to other people. And I guess we can talk about more of that another time.
Thank you, everyone, for a great first start. We're going to take a 10-minute break. Let everybody kind of stretch their legs. I know it's been a lot of information. These have been really good questions and answers. If you have some more questions, just raise your hand and we will have someone come by and pick up your questions. We're getting a lot of them, so we'll try to get in a few. All right, we'll come back at 5 minutes after 7.
Okay, if I can have y'all, audience, if you can look at me here for a second. Remember, hello, Chairman. All right, right, y'all remember, okay? You can finish up your follow-up questions on your cards. One of our bells will come and pick that up for you. You can address those questions to the entire council or to a place number. You cannot address a question to an individual candidate, okay? So finish up your follow-ups, a bell will come get them, and then we will continue in about 10 minutes. If you need the restroom, it is out here to your right. All right.
All right, everybody, it's 7:05. Hello, if everybody could start moving back to their spots. If we could get the candidates back on in their chairs. Let's all get back together so we can fit as much in as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
If all candidates could please report to the green room. All candidates to the green room for a moment.
All candidates to the green room, please. All candidates to the green room. All candidates to the green room, please. All candidates to the green room.
Hang tight, we'll be back in just a moment, and we got a bunch of good questions. If anybody else has questions that you've written down, we've got a sorting table right over here, or hold it up, and one of our bells will pick it up from you.
Did we go through this now?
We went through 4.
4, so we probably only had time for 4. Or 5, depending on, because this an hour is going. Because I wanted this one.
So if they have time, let's go through this. Let me read these. I don't know if we can ask them. If we have time, this would be the last one I would say, because we haven't asked any questions about transparency, so this
have no idea. Okay, so we're starting with follow-up questions?
We're starting with follow-up questions, and we have one which is placeholder. Okay. Let's do placeholder first.
All right.
Then it'll go back to you.
Okay, thank you for your patience. We're getting everyone back on stage. Heather's going to say a few words, and then we are going to kick it off with some of the follow-up questions.
And I will, if they go. That's what Okay, we're good. How are you? Okay. How many of these questions did we do? How many folders do you have left?
I have two. Three.
And I have two.
And I've got a follow-up question.
Okay. Yeah, we just want to make sure we get that one. Why don't we start with this one? Let's start with that one and then go to follow-ups. Okay. Does that make sense? Does that mess you up? Yeah.
Something about this one?
Just making sure. Okay. And we're good. We have enough follow-up questions.
Yeah, we got a lot of questions.
We got a lot of. Okay. Good.
So I'm reading this one.
I'm going to say.
We just start with place 4. That's what's in place 3.
It's by place.
All right, everybody. We are about to start our second half here. Ooh, I'm sorry. Okay, let me come back over here because there's a microphone that doesn't like me. All right. So I want to give you a couple of reminders and answer a couple of questions right quick. One, Hoover's, all of the Hoover seats, all of the council seats, they are at large. It means they don't have a district. They're not representing one area of Hoover. They're not representing just Jefferson County or just Shelby County. They represent all of Hoover. So you will be voting for somebody in each of these spots. Y'all tracking with me? All right. Second thing, and I reminded you guys this a little bit before we took a break. Follow-up questions, all candidates, or a specific place. Any questions on that? Okay? We're ready? All right.
Okay, this time we're going to start with place 4. Here we go. What will you support for the performing arts and for fine arts in our city? And do you recognize the desire for more activities for our citizens to enjoy regarding the arts in our own city limits? Do you support a Center for the Arts in Hoover to attract regional and national acts to perform, which would attract patrons not only from Hoover, but regionally? And if so, how would you make that a reality for Hoover?
I'm so excited about this question. So I had the privilege of being a part of the group who did borrow the money for a performing arts center. But I want to see us do more than just a performing arts center with that, because there are many forms of art. And I would like to see us have a place where the community could gather and celebrate art in many forms. $17 million sounds like a lot, but it's not nearly enough to do what the community wants and what the community deserves in this area. So one thing that I think that we have lacked in the last couple of years since we have had that money is a strategic plan. Strategic planning is something near and dear to my heart and my business, and I know that we have to have a plan in order to accomplish this big goal. It may take putting public-private funds together, and it may be a long-term plan to make sure that we come up with the funding to make it happen, but I'm 100% in support of a Center for the Arts to celebrate all the arts in Hoover.
Christian Coleman, place 4. I have a master's degree in poetry, so as you can assume, I greatly support
a performing arts center, and $17 million has been allocated towards that, but not a lot of action has happened towards that. And I believe that to be a lack of will, not a lack of money. And my degree is from the University of New Orleans, so I lived in New Orleans for a while, and New Orleans is a vibrant city full of culture. There's live music, there's all sorts of unique experiences, and I believe that the arts are what provide those unique experiences, because a city is more than just a place to put retail stores. We could have museums, we could have sculpture gardens, we could have paintings on the street, we could have murals on the walls, we could have live music. If you want to fill Patton Creek, for example, we could fill it with art.
Donna Mazer, 4. I am very much in favor of a performing arts. I'm originally from New York, in case you can't tell. And you want to talk about performing arts and the culture that is there. That is one thing that I miss so much here. Theater, the opera. My mother used to work at Lincoln Center, and we used to go to the opera all the time, and the ballet. And I miss that here, and we deserve to have it here. The money is there, not enough, but it's a start. And now we have to finish that starting point. Thank you. No, it's just for us.
No, this is for everybody. Yeah.
Thank you. Derek Murphy, Place 5. When you look at city footprints and being a large city, city's largest city in the state, most city downtown areas also have City Hall. They have certain accommodations. If we want to be bold and brave, we have to make those same detailed changes. I see so many of our people go to the Coca-Cola Amphitheater, and they're in Nashville, going to opera, going to different plays. Yeah, again, if we want to be brave, we have to go, again, with public-private partnerships. That's the only way that's going to make this happen. The city cannot fund 100% of these multi-million-dollar projects and to be able to take care of fire and police. So I'm 100% behind arts. I'm 100% in shaping our community. Being a civil engineer, being in infrastructure for 24 years of my life, working in Atlanta, working in Georgia, and also working in the state of Alabama, I have the experience, and I've dealt with so many different cities to help them grow.
Quick question in the room. Raise your hand if you've heard of the Crow Report. Okay. The Crow Report is a forensic audit that the Councilman Steve McClinton brought up earlier that was done over the finances, okay? It's a forensic audit the city had because we had deleted financial records back in July of 2023. My first act, if elected to the City Council, will be to ask, to motion, and I'd hope there would be enough people on the council to agree, to invite the state auditors in to evaluate all our finances. So I'm laying that out there in that we need to have full transparency in our finances, and then we also need to look at the interchange that's being built. We're funding 50% of that. The state bids it, and whatever the bid cost comes back, we're on the hook for 50% of that money. So until we know what that cost is, I cannot tell you that I would absolutely support the Performing Arts Center, although I'll say this. If it comes back and there's no issues with the finances, and we do have the money for the interchange, and it's at $60 million, then I would be in support. Thanks.
April 1st of 2024, there was a vote on the table where we were going to have a place for the Performing Arts Center. That vote was continued, and to this date, it has not come back. We had a place, we had a developer that was ready to give the land, and we passed on it. What the obstacle is right now to the Performing Arts Center and an arts center in general are two individuals. One is the president of the City Council, who has said that he will not have a Performing Arts Center, and the other one is the current mayor. Until we move on from those two, we're not going to have a Performing Arts Center. As far as the how we're going to pay for it, Very simple. It needs to be a public-private partnership. Why not bring a Regions Bank in? Why not have a private company that wants to put their name on it to fund the remainder of it? We have $17 million in the bank right now. We need a little bit more. We can do it.
Tanveer Patel, place 1. I will just tell the answer directly. Yes, we need an arts center. We need all of these things that are there for the city. You know why? You know, this thing in front of you, very small and powerful. People, I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about this. We need to get our kids off those. The art center and the performance brings families together. And when families come together, what happened to the mall? When you take away the toy store from the mall, families are gone, businesses are gone. When you bring families together, businesses also come together. $6 to $10 million, a hub for theater, music, family memories that bring kids and grandkids together. If I become your council member, I will ensure that your voice shapes the vibrant space. And that's what I would love to do.
So first of all, my name is Clint Burchett, and I'm running in place 2 for all of you who did not catch that because I didn't say it. Clint Burchett, it'll be at the top of your ballot on place 2. And I made a promise to a few friends of mine who are in the dance community, who are active in the arts, who, Tracy Dismukes, who is here tonight, is extremely passionate and worked incredibly hard to make these things happen. It may be hard to see a 3-sport athlete who is also a thespian and in our church choir for about 7 years, but I did. And I know that God created us not just to play sports and have the best sports facilities in the city, but to have something for everyone. For someone to have the creative juices to express themselves, to learn and to grow. Many people on my team today who are solving hard problems and creative in the technology space were people in the band. They were folks who were in theater. Some of them played sports, but most of them were able to exercise a creative muscle in their minds, and art is a way to do that. Our city should be known for that as well. It does come to money, but we have $17 million, I believe. It's going to take about 45, so let's figure it out.
So the answer to your question is yes and yes. I'm certainly in favor of the arts. I think that's very important. I've heard from a number of neighbors, also people on the boards that I serve on, that have expressed a concern and a passion for getting this done. And I'm very much results oriented, but also believe in wise counsel. And so talking to people that have put their blood, sweat, and tears into this project, that have waited and waited and waited patiently. Some people patiently, some impatiently. But that's all understood. Again, because we recognize the power that we have in the community. We recognize the investment in athletics, but also too that we need to also equally invest in the arts within this city. So I'm certainly in favor of it.
Copeland Johnson, place 2. So I just want to get it straight that Hoover raised me. When I was younger, I used to hike through the preserve and go through the Aldridge Gardens. And, matter of factly, once I left Hoover and graduated from high school in Spain Park and all those places, I went to the University of Alabama initially on art scholarships. So to the extent that the Hoover community is calling for a performing arts center, that's something that by education I am not able to ignore. I think that if the finances are found for it, I support it. Thank you.
Haven't said enough. Gene Smith. I too believe in a public-private partnership, but I also think that the facility needs to be large enough, needs to have enough seats. It needs to cater to all forms of art, but it also needs to be large enough to be able to entertain tribute bands that are now playing downtown that would come to Hoover because of the safety factors. It needs to be tied, possibly, great consideration to a entertainment district. to where when these people leave these concerts, they've got other places to be able to go and spend their money after the concerts are over. I think there are a lot of great concepts on the table, and there are wonderful places these can be put. I think Robin pointed out a very good spot, and hopefully the city will come to a great decision soon.
My name is Liz Lane, seat 3, and I am an artist. I am the only person that is up here that has dedicated my entire career to the arts. And I can tell you right now why Hoover needs to invest in the arts. Cities that invest in the arts reduce crime, improve property value, improve mental health, and increase test scores. We need the arts, and we need to invite the creative community into this process. I am all in favor of it being a public-private partnership, but unless you talk to the actual creative community, we will not fill the needs of this community. And if you want to take a cue from cities like Nashville and Charleston and Greenville, South Carolina, you can look at what the arts have done for small business. It will grow Hoover. We will increase our sales and use tax, and that will help our schools. We must invest in the arts, and I will be the biggest cheerleader if elected. You better believe it.
Thank you.
Ashley Lovell, place 3. So the one issue that was the most important issue to our city was transparency and accountability. And we've been sitting on $17 million for 9 years. We recently spent $6.1 million of that $17 million on some sewer upgrades that came out of nowhere. Yes, we were able to replace that $17 million with the general fund money, but it's a transparency and accountability issue. And yes, I support the Performing Arts Center, and I support the community members who've stuck up for the Performing Arts Center. It's about academics, it's about athletics and arts, right? Those 3 things. Thank you very much.
The short answer to the question is I am 100% in favor of a performing arts center. In all transparency, I do not have an artistic bone in my body. But let me tell you about my experience. When I was teaching psychology at LaGrange College, this small private college had one of the best theater programs in the country. They had to go to Callaway Gardens, 50, 60 miles away, in order to put on their plays. They were great. They have since built a very large performing arts center at LaGrange, and it has done what we need to do for Hoover. It has brought in people, it has made the city better, and I think that's what Hoover needs. And I think the new council, and I hope I'm part of it, will do what it takes to get it.
All right, a hot topic, stormwater.
Brandy, can I interrupt
Oh, yes,
you?
please.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I need to make a couple of reminders right quick. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Aren't they doing a great job? Let's everybody give them a clap. This is hard to do. This is hard to do, okay? Now that you've clapped for all of them, can you please hold your applause to the end of our forum, because we are on time. I know I'm taking it up, but I needed to tell you this. Okay, also, if you have your phones on, please put them on silent and don't be, texting them and getting things distracted and things like that. Okay, we good?
Yeah,
all right,
we're good.
Continue, Brandy.
All right, so this is for everyone. We're going to start with council, 5. Stormwater damage. What plans do you have to expeditiously address this problem?
Derek Murphy, place 5. On this issue, I have over 24 years in the water utility business and infrastructure business. A mile of pipe will cost you $1.5 million. We have over 400 miles of road, enough road to go to Atlanta and come back again. We have a lot of infrastructure needs. I'm 100% behind the fact that the city has an obligation on stormwater and an obligation to correct stormwater that have been caused 20 and 30 years ago. For the first time ever, we've spent more money on capital projects for stormwater than any time before. We have a plan. We have a condition assessment to understand the things that we need to do. Long term, if we want to be serious, again, and I first want to kind of start this discussion, public-private partnership to increase our revenue, because we have a lot of things we have to cover in this city. So immediate plan is follow the things we're going forward with now, try to find out additional money, and look at a strategic plan to move forward with stormwater.
So I ran out of time the last question, and I wasn't able to finish. I'm absolutely in favor of the Performing Arts Center. I just want to make sure that the financials are solid. Stormwater is a big issue. I was pretty naive about it, other than the issue going on in Trace Crossings, which it could impact over 1,400 people being assessed to clean up a lake from soil erosion. But the bigger issue is I got invited to meet with a small group of people off of Patton Chapel Road, and I got to see firsthand how they struggle with funding there. And it's real, folks, and it's a problem. It's a small problem that's become a big problem because nobody's addressed it. And the water used to disperse, across the road. They redid Patton Creek, and then the civil engineers did what they're supposed to do, which is have the water go through the drain and it comes down. Well, the problem is the creeks are not capable of handling that volume of water. So you have an entire neighborhood that is struggling with stormwater that's impacting their house. There's flooding going into kitchens. You got people that have raw sewage, sinkholes, retaining walls taken out. Thank you.
Stormwater issue is an issue that came up in October of 2021, and there's one thing that has been in common since then. Nobody has listened to the residents. The residents have stated their problems, and they have been looked at with blank stares from the council. The solution is not for the city to pay for everything. The solution is not for the residents to pay for everything. The solution is for the residents and the city to sit down and begin a conversation. It is a problem. It is a problem that has not been addressed. And once everybody gets to the table and is able to listen to one another, this problem can be resolved. But until the city actually begins to listen, it's not going to happen. And we're going to change that.
Tanvir Patel, Place 1. I have been to the neighborhoods where they were affected, and I personally spoke to residents and understood what their problem is. Listen, learn, and then you can come up with a solution. I'm not an engineer, but I can tell you this, that I struggle with water problems in my own home, and I know how hard it is. It is expensive, it is frustrating. I believe that we have to fix that problem for the citizens. That's the obligation of the city. We have to take care of our citizens. The $4 million settlement near the 31 shows that there was a gap in the planning process. Okay, so we need to learn from the mistakes, but we have a short-term and a long-term goal. The short-term, we need to fix it. The long-term, I have created a transparency app where residents will be able to go and put information in, and they get heard, because all voices need to be heard, all citizens need to be taken care of, and we have to think about short-term and long-term.
So as I look around this room, I see several people that this is their biggest issue because it impacts their home. I've sat with some of the same people that Steve met with and some of the others they're going to tell you as well. And it's as if Hoover is a second world country in their home because of what's happening to the property damage, to the immense amount of water coming. And some things are easy to fix. I don't know why they're not yet. Some of them, there really is not an easy solution. And I'm not an engineer, but I can tell you it's not an easy solution. But it's going to take actually listening to people. Not being a mayor who threatens the police if they get angry with you. Not being a city employee who threatens to sue these homeowners who have legitimate problems and valid concerns. How can we sit comfortable as a wealthy city in one of the best cities in the state, yet people have valid complaints about their home, and we have folks who it is their sole duty to at least empathize with these people, if nothing else, and hear their full story, whether they agree or disagree. But we're too busy attacking them as a city at this point. I hope that we can bring more of this to light. This is the one transparent issue we need, and I hope we can all see it for what it is and solve it.
This is something that is certainly near and dear to, I believe, all of us that are running for city council. But at the end of the day, as I've said a number of times, it's about meeting people where they are. irrespective of whether or not your home, your land, your property is dealing with stormwater or not. We have to be in a position where we are willing to talk to people, understand exactly where they are, and also to just find solutions. On the city council, it's not a one-person decision. We've got to work together. We also have to understand and respect the information and the knowledge that we've been given from other people, the engineers, the people who've been doing this for years. And so that's what is exciting to me, is being able to continue to serve the people, continue to listen, but also to have empathy and find a solution. Thank you.
Copeland Johnson, Place 2. As I recognize it, the city has been dealing with stormwater issue since before I was born. I have called it upon myself to go out into these communities, whether it's Russet Woods or Green Valley or any other places that are dealing with this issue. I have gone out to listen to the members of the community. What we're talking about is people that are children and pets that are pulled away from rushing bits of water. We're talking about trees falling on elderly people's homes because of root rot. So at this point, there is no ignoring these people's problems. And I don't agree with ignoring these people's problems. So here's the solution. What we must do is make an index of all the areas that are impacted. And from there, it should be known as a citywide issue. The next thing that you have to do is replace the collapsed drainage pipes, because these are city pipes and they are flooding with water. And the last thing is, I'll speak with the constituents.
The other candidates have made a good argument for the needs of the citizens. I do want to bring up certain situations. It may be a roadway project that caused the waters to flow a different direction. It may be a new neighborhood has caused the water to flow a new direction that would cause the city to have a true legal opportunity to fix these waterways. But the city is hamstrung in certain situations by using taxpayer money to repair private property or improve private property. And I believe that one way to deal with this, and I have passed many pieces of local legislation in Montgomery having to deal with Hoover, to go to Montgomery and deal with the local delegations between Jefferson and Shelby County to be able to get some relief in Montgomery to relieve some of these hamstrung issues for Hoover.
Liz Lane, seat 3. So my grandfather was actually a structural engineer, and something that we all should know is that concrete does not like to absorb water. So as we have more development, we're going to have more water issues, and we have seen what flooding can do across the United States and how it can rip communities apart. And we must, as a city, prepare ourselves for changing floodplains and increased flooding. Your home should not flood, especially not because something was built upstream from you. The city must stop litigating against you and fighting for you. We need to improve city planning for long-term stability. We need to hold developers accountable for researching water runoff impacts. We need innovative research and solutions that go beyond just fixing pipes. We need infrastructure that includes rain gardens and native plants and permeable pavement detention ponds. Floodplains must be updated so we can care for our citizens. Thank you.
Ashley Lovell, Place 3. I hope you guys are starting to see a trend here, because I can bring up transparency and accountability yet again when it comes to stormwater. We have Mr. Smith, Dr. DeFranco, Ms. Fernberg, Napier Road. Guys, when it comes to stormwater, it's going to take money, it's going to take resources, but most importantly, it's going to take action. We need action. For example, in Green Valley, there was a flood in 2021. The Shoal report came out. Yes, it was presented to the community, but it was only presented to the community one time.
Because we need to listen to the residents. We need to keep them informed. That's the quick fix. The quick fix is to begin listening, not to sit on the city council dais and not give answers and to ignore, because I've been ignored. I've been ignored with the Tattersall issue. So it all comes down to transparency, accountability, and smart development.
Robert Williams, Place 3. Like many of you, I have seen the videos. And stormwater in Hoover is not an imaginary problem. It's real. I'm not an engineer, but I think the solution is for the engineers to be hired to get a plan and for the council to do whatever they can to implement that plan. One of the problems that I have had in going to city council meetings, and I'm not certain who it was that said it, but it was referenced here earlier, is that we can't do anything because it's private property. Well, I don't want to spend city money to improve private property, but if the city caused the problem, I think we've got an obligation to look into it and see what we can do about it.
Thank you. Christy Driver, Place 4. So the long-term solution, several people have mentioned strategic planning, infrastructure investment, and all of that is important. But I believe that there is a shorter-term solution, which is to begin enforcing the rules and regulations that we should be enforcing in the city as it stands. So I recently convened a group of folks from the city, from Jefferson County, as well as our state legislature, who sat down and we talked about what we can do about the Scout Lake issue specifically. The point of the meeting was to align around what the causes of the issue are there, and very much in agreement from both the city experts and the county experts. The issue is that the upstream developers have not maintained their detention ponds. There are trees growing in them. They're not serving their purpose, and that is causing the allowance of the downstream damage to Scout Lake. Thank you.
Christian Coleman, Place 4. I believe that one concrete, no pun intended, thing we can do is rejoin the Stormwater Management Authority. This is a group of cities in Jefferson County, including many over the mountain, that work together to solve stormwater problems. But for some reason, Hoover left the Stormwater Management Authority and wanted to go alone. And I believe in the proverb that if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. And water does not get to the city line and say, wait a minute, guys, we're Vestavia water. We got to stop here. So we need to be working with the cities around us to deal with water that is pouring in, especially in areas like Patton Creek. That is Vestavia water, and it is not respecting our city line at all. And if you are in Montedoro, I am actually walking distance. You've probably gotten one of my door hangers. You know how well a retention pond can help you, and you know we're one pipe away.
Donna Mazer, Place 4. In January of 2022, Shoal Engineering did a comprehensive plan on our infrastructure, stormwater, let the city know how bad it was, the erosion, people's homes. As of 2025, the city has done nothing about it. ADEM has gotten in touch with the city. They have done nothing. And our mayor says, we don't do private property. Well, what do they want these people to do? This is not the people's problem. This is Hoover's problem. And Hoover has to step up to the plate and answer to ADEM and Shoal Management why they're not doing anything. Thank you.
Okay, this question here, we're going to start with Place 1, and it is for everyone. How will you the city's future.
Thank you. You're going to hear that word a lot. It's talking the talk. We've walked the walk. Right now in the back of this chamber, you will see a camera. That is the Hoover channel. That is something we started in 2022 when the city decided to stop streaming meetings. We've streamed every meeting since then, council meetings and work sessions. The transparency is more about the seeing. It's also about accountability. It is also about asking the why. It is asking who, and it's making things visible to you. Right now, we have limited access to city information, and getting it is like pulling teeth. That's something that we're going to change, that we're going to make it easy for people to get to the information that they need. And finally, the other thing is, it's more than just an app. An app is not going to solve the problem. The actual thing that needs to happen is we need to have the people involved, the council involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Tanveer Patel, place 1. That's true. Walk the walk, talk the walk, I run it, okay? I run with transparency. I'm not about just I believe that we should always have a plan for not only for today, but for tomorrow. The next generation, they are used to phones and they want to talk to the government from the living room. And you would want that too. Later on, you would want to be able to speak to your government data. So my transparency plan is, it is not an app, it is a AI driven, which is more powers in your hands, that you question the government, that you need something to know. You don't have to watch the videos and read a lot of pages. You are just going to type in your questions and you get your answer, boom, right there, whatever you need. So that's the power that I would like to give to the citizens in collaboration and work with you.
Hello. Okay. So I hate going after Robin because he's the champion of this. I mean, he has been doing this, walking it, living it. And I can't really add much to what Robin said, but I want to say a few things. When you try to get information on the city's finances, you pretty much have to have a CPA to understand it. I don't, but I understand it. But it is very difficult to get information on the city's finances. The Kroll report, well, it's with a K. There's a Scholl report for engineering and a Kroll report for finance showed that we have a lot of information not getting to the council, not making public. And we've hired a new CFO and a new chief administrator. One of them is in this room right now, and it's getting better. But I'm going to tell you, there's one problem that still exists, and this is a little different. You're all welcome to come to my house. I hope we have town halls. But our mayor has a dossier on people in the city, on employees in the city, on council members that have been there. This is not the mafia. This is not the FBI. The city should not have secrets upon secrets about projects and people. The council will hopefully get in and bust that up day one, because enough's enough on that.
So the best way that I know to ensure transparency, integrity, at the end of the day is about being who the people elected me to be, but also too who I've been through all my life. Being a man of my word. I have the opportunity now to. I'm knocking on doors and meeting people and listening to them. I've said it repeatedly, this is absolutely positively not about me. It's about me having a heart to serve, but also giving back to a community that welcomed me and my family 16, 17 years ago. It's about, being an example of leadership, also respecting the family, but also all the things that we've been blessed to have throughout this city. And so, yeah, that's how I intend to be transparent and being.
Copeland Johnson, place 2. Just as a guideline between the way that I grew up in Hoover and going to school in Hoover, I believe in honesty. I mean, I think that the idea of not having honesty on the council is part of the problem. So what I look to do is to bring public polls for community engagement, and that would just increase public knowledge overall. Beyond that, I believe in participatory budgeting, which it just would let the city council know where money should be going. It reduces the risk of, mismanaging funds. It handles fund allocation and what the community thinks we should be doing with the money. Beyond that, I was just prepared by Hoover, and so I look to continue to serve Hoover. Thank you.
When the council chambers were remodeled, the council budgeted and spent over $300,000 on audio-visual equipment. I think it's been brought up in other forums and other atmospheres that the council at some point a few years ago started doing away with those videos. They would cut off the public comment, even the council comment sections of the meetings. Meetings are gavel to gavel. Everybody should see every bit of it. Those meetings should be stored forever. They should be held gavel to gavel. The council minutes now are a Cliff Note version. It says Gene Smith spoke. It doesn't say what Gene Smith said. It says Gene Smith spoke. We need to get back to the full minutes of all of our committees that worked for 50 years. There's no reason to change now.
Liz Lane, seat 3. I actually feel like the word transparency gets overused in government. Transparency has been quite opaque recently. I am not doing this because I love to go to meetings. I'm not doing this because we get $600 a month to be on the city council. I'm doing this because I deeply care about our future, our community, all of our kids, and our neighbors. We need collaborative leadership that is grounded in active listening, thoughtful communication, and empathy. We need to have financial transparency, clear communication, and make city processes accessible to all. We also need to invite people in the community to come in and participate, because what happens on a federal level is very important, but these are our own front yards, these are our schools, our streets, and our neighbors, and we need to pay attention.
Ashley Lovell, place 3. So a little bit about me. I'm homegrown in Hoover. I went to Rocky Ridge, Berry Middle School, and Spain Park High School. So I know Hoover from one side, and I also know it from the other, as being a mom of 2, as well as living and working in Hoover. So I deeply care about the transparency of our city, because I believe that it sets us up for future generations. So number 1 is that we need to put the residents first. I think in some cases we've forgotten that, and we need to put the residents first. As far as the Kroll report, the city council has been making decisions with limited information, and that's a problem. How can we steer our city if we're not making informed decisions based upon the information that we have? We need to be able to ask questions, but not only get answers as residents. We should be able to walk up into the city council meeting, have more than 3 minutes to ask our question, and get a response, and not be met with a stand down.
I'm going to try to answer this in 1 minute, but I've got 3 aspects to it. As a lawyer, I spent years with an ethical requirement of being transparent. I had to let my clients know exactly what was going on. And as a city council person, y'all would all be my client. And I would have to let you know what's going on, and I would commit to that. As far as how I would ensure that it's transparent, I don't think I can control the other 6 people on the council. But I can commit to not having any secret meetings, backroom meetings, and not voting on something that I don't feel like I am completely, totally informed about. And the final phase is we've got to have the residents involved, and they've got to take advantage of the information that we put out there for them.
Christy Driver, place 4.
With respect to transparency, I have learned that we have an unnecessarily difficult process when the public requests information from the city. Everything right now goes through legal counsel first. And I'm a lawyer. I actually like lawyers, unlike most people, but I have a problem with that because the public information, the city's information is your information, and our bias should be to provide you with that information when you request it, as long as your request is reasonable and we can afford to give it to you. So that's my stance on transparency. We can do better, and we will do better. Second is, you asked about inclusive decision-making. I would love to see us have more forums like this, not just when we're running for council, but when we're the sitting council, when we're working together to try to solve these problems and keep these promises that we're up here making for you. I want to be held accountable, and I think it's important to have this kind of a forum. So town halls.
Christian Coleman, Place 4. I agree with so much of what everybody up here has said, and the one thing I can add is that is plain language. I do not have a CPA, I am not an attorney, and so it only does a limited amount of good to flood the zone with information of these are the minutes and this is the contract and such, and they didn't teach finances at poetry school. But what they did teach, what I did learn, is that the Bible itself, the New Testament and the Old, were written in, quote, the language of the boy who pushes the plow. Because the strength of your testimony, no matter how right you are, if people can't understand it, then it does no good. So I believe in transcripts, I believe in summaries, I believe in an explanation in the language of the boy who pushes the plow.
Donna Mazer, Place 4. I have a problem with transparency and accountability to the citizens of Hoover. We paid $400,000 to the IRS because we did something wrong. And it was ignored, just like the stormwater is ignored. It was put in a drawer, and until the IRS came and said, you will pay us $400,000. People, that's your money. We have a building in River Chase, in Riverwalk, that we are paying $17 million over the next 10 years. Why? Because the mayor did not read the lease. He signed it, but he admitted that he never read it. That's your money. That is an abuse of taxpayer money.
Derek Murphy, Place 5. You know, my wife is in the front, and many times I may think I know what she wanted till I ask her. In 2016, when I swore in, our citizens asked us, hey, look, we need to have more input on the long-term vision. We went on 2 years, and many of you were a part of that, 2 years of town hall meetings to talk about issues from Greystone to Green Valley to you name it. That created a comprehensive plan in 2019. What was asked in that is walkability. A lot of our historic neighborhoods felt like they were not being looked at. Their parks wouldn't be looked at, like Monte Durham and things of that nature, and the traffic. And we fixed a lot of that. What needs to happen again is another reset, because maybe things have changed for our residents. We need to have more town hall meetings for probably the next 2 years to get information down. Those comprehensive plans is located on the city website. You'll be able to go in detail and see what citizens act at that period of time, and that's what we need to do moving forward.
So my background is I've done 30 years of commercial insurance. I'm a commercial insurance broker. I've done insurance and risk management for companies all across the country. The reason I tell you that is because I work with CEOs, CFOs, business owners, you name it. Basically, I'll get to see how people make money. But the biggest thing I've noticed about finances is that the city of Hoover gets we have a report. We report the finances, but we have a communication problem. And the communication problem is our legacy systems that we have are outdated. They don't communicate with each other. We need to upgrade it to something like Dynamic 365, which is what other successful governments are doing for cities. And not only that, but make our data machine readable, but using XBRL language, which is what every publicly traded company uses, as well as the federal government. So the reason why that's important is, as a citizen and on the city council, if you want to find out, if we approve $800,000 for the Hoover Randall House, sorry, I ran out of time.
All right, this is the last question, and it's for everyone.
I'm sorry, Brandy. Hold on this for a second. So we're supposed to end at 8 o'clock. We can do one more question. That'll put us at about 15 after. Is that okay with everybody? Would that be lovely? Okay, Shades Crest is fine. Okay, yes, let's go.
All right, here we go. With the current population density and the low occupation rate of offices and retail in the city, how can you justify approval for continual development of new retail and office space in the city? Is this city held hostage to development for revenue sake? And we'll go with place 2.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm clear.
Yeah. So with the current population density and the low occupation rate of offices and retail in the city, how can you justify approval for continual development of new retail and office space in the city? Is this city held hostage to development for revenue sake?
I think a city in debt is always held hostage to having to raise new revenues. And that's where we are, unfortunately. 10 cents of every dollar goes to debt servicing right now on our budget. We have to continue to raise revenues because we borrowed money. That's the first problem. The second problem is we do have a quality of life around here, and it's growing in homes faster than it is in businesses. We're only really attracting retail businesses. And as we walk into a recession, that is not going to be a good scenario. The recession will probably come the next 2 or 3 years. They're cyclical every 5 to 8 years. I can tell you, our city is not so dense, but you cannot build, smart growth is actually said. You have to find businesses that will fill these spaces, reinvest in our communities, provide a pipeline for our schools. I work in the tech space. I want to see tech companies come to Birmingham. I want to work with KKR Excel. I want to work with Thoma Bravo. These are multi-billion-dollar companies that are constantly looking for places to put stuff. I hope we can do it in a smart way.
Yeah, that was a lot. Can you repeat the question again?
It's already packed up.
That's all right.
That's okay. With the current population and the low occupant rate of offices and retail in the city, how can you justify approval for continual development of new retail and office space in the city? Is this city held hostage to development for revenue sake?
Well, no, we can't justify unless we have all the information to make a sound decision. I serve on the Downtown Redevelopment Authority for Hoover. I've been on it for the last 3 years, and we've had a lot of conversations about making sound decisions about the development. Sorry, about development, but then also too, I'm just making sure that we have the experts in the room to make the decision. There's a lot of things that we want to do in this city. We definitely don't want to have abandoned buildings and different spaces where where we can have businesses that have been developed. But like I said before, we need to make sure that we have the right people in the room to make these decisions for the future of our city.
So I recognize the question to be pertaining to commercial blight. What that means is essentially all of the empty storefronts that we have in our city. Honestly, growing up here, I remember when Patton Creek was full and lively. I remember the River Chase Galleria having a whole bunch of stores. And now what we're looking at is almost close to dilapidation. People don't want to go there. People don't have fun there. There's really nothing there. And so my idea is to handle creative marketing. I work for a company right now doing social media marketing, which increases mass visibility. The types of businesses that we want are the businesses that we're trying to attract. What we have to do is market ourselves effectively to go and get those businesses to fill the storefronts. Beyond that, it's just going to take more of a community effort to bring the stores here. So we are not held hostage by development. What that is opportunity. Thank you.
If someone owns a piece of property that is already zoned for commercial purposes, and it's zoned to be able to have office or retail, the city can't do anything other than issue them the permits. Now, if they want to go outside of that and they need conditional zoning or something like that, then the city can bring other aspects to it to try to control things. But when you're a property owner, you have certain rights to be able to develop your property. What Hoover needs is an aggressive, a more aggressive position and action to be able to go after, and like others have said, to go and find other businesses. I think Dillard's has been recently mentioned as something to go after for the Galleria or Patton Creek, and to bring other businesses like that. It needs aggression.
Liz Lane, seat 3. So sales and use tax is very important in Hoover. That is what funds our schools. That's what funds our police and fire department. We need to increase our sales and use tax. But we must revitalize. We must consider smart redevelopment before we justify new development. We have the heart that we could have developed in areas like Patton Creek. We should have a downtown area. Communities need this third space. When I go out and I talk to people when I'm door knocking, people here feel like their communities are shrinking and not growing. And to really build community, we must have these third spaces, but we already have them. They're right in front of our eyes. We just need some smart redevelopment plans. We need to increase public art. We need to be the support that small businesses need to see in the community. We need holistic leadership surrounding development, and we must encourage this to have the experiential community that we want. Thank you.
Ashley Lovell, Place 3. A little bit about my background. I work for a company called Lincare, and we're the nation's largest provider of respiratory equipment in the home. We have about 700 locations and almost 2 million patients, and I started out as a sales rep with the organization. 14 years later, I'm the senior manager of sales and marketing for the organization, and I believe that you have to develop relationships in order to grow your community. So currently we have about 600,000 square feet of empty office space. And we have an economic development team, but it only consists of one main person and a secretary. So I believe that we can invest funds in actively and aggressively recruiting business so that it can come to Hoover. We can sell our city. There's so many amazing things about our city. Talk to me. I'm a product of Hoover City and I love Hoover. So I just think there's a lot of opportunity on the economic development front so that we're not tied to new developments.
Williams, Place 3. The two sources of revenue for the city are the sales and use tax and property tax. And for those to increase, we have to build. And as Gene said, we can't always control what is built on someone's private property. But I think that we need to give incentives to people who want to put their businesses in the structures that we already have, as opposed to incentivizing new development at the exclusion of those places. So we have, for example, Trader Joe's went into a Best Buy vacancy. That was a good deal. I don't know what the incentive was, but we've got to do more of that. So I think we've got to have the building both new and revitalized.
Christy Driver, Place 4. Does anybody remember what it felt like the first time you went in the River Chase Galleria if you were here in the 1980s when it was created? It was stunning. It was stunning, and it was very special. Hoover deserves to have something as stunning and special in 2025 and beyond as we had in the 1980s with the River Chase Galleria. I believe very strongly in redevelopment. It's part of my platform. It is very important that the City Council use the power that we have. We can't tell commercial property owners what to do with their property, but what we can do is we can use our incentive dollars to encourage them to do what we want them to do. And that's what I think is very important for us. Collaborative effort, leveraging relationships, and using the power of incentives to shape what we want to see in the spaces in Hoover that need attention.
Christian Coleman, Place 4. I think that a human being is more than a customer. And I think that we lose focus on how we can serve the whole citizen when we focus solely on retail. I think we can focus our redevelopment on making spaces that serve an entire person. These are art spaces, these are music spaces, spaces that are safe for children, spaces that allow you to grow. And because we are more than just tax dollars, we're people. And we have to be served by our city more than just saying, oh, hey, look how much tax dollars we brought in. There was a European politician post-Cold War who said, we wanted workers, but we got people. And that's what's happening in Hoover. They want customers, and they've got people, and we need a city government that serves people.
I think we need an economic committee. Patton Creek was developed when I was on the council. Unfortunately, the people who left Patton Creek, they did not go out of business. They moved down Stadium Trace. They moved to Knox Square. They moved into the big shopping center. They didn't go out of business. However, what happened was the people who own that Patton Creek raised their rents so high, and the new shopping centers offered them such a good incentive, they left. So it's more than just, you have to look at the people who own the shopping centers, because they're raising the rents something terrible, and the people can't afford to stay there.
Doug Murphy, Place 5. When you look at Highway 280, there's so many times I've seen events that come here and kids and family members run across the street on 150 nearly getting hit. One of the main things we need to look at is our transportation plan. We have a lot of cars, close to 50,000 cars that travel 150 and Highway 31 every single day. So that's A. Also, we have lost several larger companies as well too, because the model has changed. There was a time you could just stay in the office building all day, go get your lunch, come back. But the model has changed now, where individuals don't have time to go for 30 minutes to get lunch, or they'll be late. They're moving downtown to other areas where they have food available, they have festivals, and they can also walk. That's what we have done with a couple of our older buildings when we started talking about revitalizing, adding those food places, adding those places you can live. So when people move to those areas to work, they can stay at the areas and not have to get in their car to go anywhere. Thank you.
So we started this conversation today with a question about listening. And so one of the key things I want to do is figure out, why do we have so many vacant storefronts? So I started talking to business owners, especially new business owners that just moved to Hoover. And what I learned was that our zoning and ordinance laws are way outdated, like 1980s. And our zoning commission, we have people that have served on there 2 or 3 decades. I'm for term limits for all committees, even the city council and mayor's race, to be honest with you. So when I dug into some of the zoning rules and regulations that are outdated, they're costing business owners money. It takes, if you come to Hoover and open up a business, you're going to pay more money than surrounding cities. That's the problem. We have to figure it out. We got to change it. I went and got the certified Alabama planning and zoning official. It's something that other cities make their zoning and planning and zoning committees do. It's through North Alabama because it's a steep learning curve. But if we want to save our city, we've got to look at redevelopment because everything has changed. Thank you. My name is Steve Lawrence, Place 5. I humbly ask for your vote.
So I'm going to bring it a little closer to home and talk about Shades Mountain Plaza and Bluff Park Village, right across the street from each other. In 2020, the owner of Piggly Wiggly was going to close the store and he was going to leave Bluff Park. That was going to create a problem for a lot of people that live in Bluff Park. But instead, the developer, the owner of Bluff Park Village, got with the city. They worked out an incentive package, and today we have one of the nicest Piggly Wigglies in the state. It was an incentive that took it. And meanwhile, at Shades Mountain Plaza, which, by the way, if you all don't know, is owned by 4 different entities. The entity where the old Piggly Wiggly was, every single one of those stores is, with the exception of the Mercantile Plaza and the post office, is empty. The post office is not being staffed because it is filled with mold. We need to address that as well. But in the meanwhile, I'll jump on the incentive bandwagon. That's what we need to do. Thank you.
Tanvir Patel, Place 1. I think a little bit differently. Guys, we are living in a new economy. New economy. The office buildings are empty. The stores are empty.